Fellow Patriot, nuclear World War III is upon us, and America has never been less prepared for it. Because this coming war won't be fought with tanks and infantry like the first two, and even though it will be nuclear, you shouldn't expect giant mushroom clouds either. However, there's a secret new weapon that will make all the difference. A weapon we wouldn't hear or see. Yet it will spark an unprecedented catastrophe and turn our whole nation into a dark graveyard. It's a weapon only one of our enemies possesses, not the Taliban, who are still rejoicing from our recent retreat. Not Russia either, even though it would love to try, but a much more unpredictable one. And that country has got us in its sight. And they could very well use it and force America to capitulate, without a fight and without a single casualty. Well, at least there won't be any casualties immediately. But in the short months after this event happens, millions of families will be left homeless, hungry, and desperately fighting for their lives. Please don't take this warning lightly. I have no interest in trying to scare you, but even the highest ranks in the U.S. military are coming out issuing somber warnings, like Air Force Lieutenant General Clinton Hinault, who disclosed that, with this new terrifying weapon, we're not just going to lose, we're going to lose fast. And the chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs, General Mark Milley, who warned on national television that our defense systems are completely useless against this weapon, which means it can basically put the entire American nation on its knees. But you must know that the most important part of this calamity is not what will happen, but rather what you can do about it. In other words, will you be prepared when everything we take for granted changes overnight? I hope so. Because this country's sinister plot to kickstart World War III and demolish millions of American lives has already begun. Hi, my name is Alec Deacon, and in this short and controversial presentation, I'm going to reveal how a rogue nation is setting the stage to leave millions of families homeless and fighting each other for scraps, using a devastating new weapon that's unlike anything we've ever seen. You'll see why even our trillion-dollar military defenses can't stop this new weapon. You'll also see how this nation is already preparing its people for war against the U.S., and they're doing it in plain sight. But I have some good news for you. Because even though the consequences of this disaster are going to be catastrophic, you can still protect your family and your home if you know exactly what to do. So stick with me until the very end of this brief presentation, and I will give you an easy-to-do and understand 3-steps preparedness strategy right here in this video. I call it the SOS preparedness strategy, and if you choose to take advantage of it, you'll ensure that you and your family not only survive, but actually thrive. You'll have food, water, and shelter, and even electricity when everyone is in the dark, thanks to what you'll witness here. You're about to be much more prepared for the coming storm than your neighbors, and that's a very powerful position to be in. My name is Alec Deacon. I'm the author of the bestseller Backyard Liberty and editor of Survivopedia.com. I spent almost 2 decades studying every last type of survival situation, and I specialized in rural survival. I know everything there is to know about bugging out, farming, supply stacking, home protection, you name it. I dedicated most of my life to helping everyone I can, giving them practical, safe guidance that would actually make a difference in survival scenarios. And because I'm almost religious about my right to protect my family from whatever life throws at us, that's why I've made it my life's purpose to expose to true patriots the hidden dangers that threaten our lives. However, not too long ago, one of my contacts in the intelligence community sent me a video to watch. But this wasn't the kind of video that you'd expect. What I watched was so disturbing and troubling, it made me realize that World War III is imminent, and it's coming way closer than you think. And so here, I'll give you my warning in its simplest form. My fellow patriot, there's been a lot of talk in the media about Russia and a potential nuclear attack on Ukraine or the NATO alliance. Yet unlike what the media is purporting, Russia is not our biggest enemy. No matter how crazy Putin may try to act and make nuclear threats just to scare the West, he has so much to lose. He's the most powerful man in Russia, and he doesn't want to just give that up. However, there's a much bigger threat from an irrational country, a country that we've been losing to repeatedly and in all realms for the past 20 years. The U.S. economy has decayed and declined, while its economy has skyrocketed, recording what some define as miracle economic growth year after year. They've established themselves as the key trading partner of most countries in the world. It has now a leading position in global supply chains, Our trade deficit with this country has become the largest trade deficit that one nation has had with another nation in the history of the world. Every single year, we lose more jobs, more businesses, and more of our national wealth to them. And they've poured billions of dollars into strengthening their army to match that of the USA. And now, we've reached the point where we're losing our biggest asset against this country, the asset that was our only hope to beat this nation: our military. In 2017, the U.S. military began running highly classified war games that simulated a potential conflict with this country. Dozens of simulations were run. But no matter how many times we ran these war games, the result was always the same: we lose. And we don't just lose, we lose fast. That's why the U.S. Strategic Command's chief warned and said that the Ukraine crisis that we're in right now, this is just the warm-up. The big one is coming. And it isn't going to be very long before this country tests us in ways that we haven't been tested in a long time. In case you didn't guess, that country is China. You see, while we've spent the last 20 years fighting wars in the Middle East, they've spent the last 20 years studying all our moves. They know how we wage war. They know the weapons we use and exactly how we use them. And they've created a new weapon to exploit our weaknesses. You can argue and say this can't happen, that China has got too much to lose. But that's what the media want you to believe. They want you to believe that China needs us and can never risk going to war with America. But what they're not telling you is the scary fact that China is doing something unprecedented, something that should be on every headline of every major news channel. What the Communist Party has been doing for the last year could permanently change our way of life and send America back to the Middle Ages. Over the past 12 months, China unleashed what will go down as the biggest propaganda campaign in history. The goal behind this campaign was simple: make 1.4 billion Chinese citizens believe that America wants China's doom and that they have to defend their mainland against America's aggression. And the reason is loud and clear. They're subconsciously mobilizing their citizens and preparing them for war against the U.S. In a moment, I'll tell you why China would do such a thing. But first, let me show you how they are executing their evil plan. You see, the CCP propaganda machine began this hypnotization with a strange movie. At first sight, it seems like a piece of entertainment. But if you take a deeper look, you'll realize that this movie has a terrifying hidden message. Because it purposely foreshadows an event that China has been planning for decades. What's shocking is that this movie went on to be a massive success, becoming the highest-grossing film in the history of China, racking in hundreds of millions of dollars. So what was the movie about? This movie was about China defeating America in a major battle. A battle where we don't just lose, but we get humiliated in it. And even though the film is a fictional story, but it portrays American soldiers as satanic evil men. This was deliberately done to insert into the viewers' minds that all Americans are evil and want China's doom. And it gets worse. In fact, that movie was just the start, because a few days after the unmatched success that film had in China's box office, China's biggest state-owned journal sent a document to hundreds of millions of Chinese citizens. The document talked about how the U.S. is engaging in biological warfare and other transgressions against China, and that China has to protect itself from America's continuous onslaught. So why would China do this? And why now specifically? According to Fox News, the CCP has gained massive confidence after the fall of Afghanistan and the failure to detour Putin's invasion of Ukraine. So now China believes that America is ineffective, while the Chinese army is at its peak strength, making it the perfect time to carry out an attack on America. Military experts are already beginning to warn that China is convinced it needs to hit the U.S. with a Pearl Harbor-style surprise attack. And the U.S. commander for America's forces in the Pacific seemed to agree, warning U.S. officials to prepare for a Chinese attack. The historical record since the founding of China in 1949 is clear. When confronted by a mounting threat to its geopolitical interests, Beijing does not want to be attacked. It shoots first to gain the advantage of surprise. Take the Korean War and clashes with Vietnam in 1979 as an example, where China attacked the minute it felt threatened by these nations. And right now, the CCP thinks that America is a threat to its sovereignty, and it's all because of a little island that's 3 times smaller than New York City. Yet this little island could be the reason we get into a devastating war with China. This island is Taiwan. And if the CCP were to invade Taiwan tomorrow, we would be forced to defend it. And this could kickstart the next World War. Now, some folks may say, why not let China just have Taiwan? It's not our fight, not our concern. The problem is that Taiwan makes 90% of the world's most advanced semiconductors. They're the tiny operating brains inside just about any modern device, like your smartphone, brake sensors in your car, a hospital ventilator, even our fighter jets. So if China attacked Taiwan, they could cut us off from the semiconductors we need to defend ourselves. That would cripple us. We'd be on our knees. We would have no choice but to fight to stop that from happening. But with our current 20th century weapons, we lose. A report by the Center of Strategic and International Studies showed how bad it would be. In their report, they said we'd lose 500 aircraft, 20 surface ships, and 2 aircraft carriers in a matter of weeks. Each aircraft carrier has at least 5,000 souls on board. Add to that the rest of our losses, and we risk losing 20,000 to 30,000 Americans in a matter of weeks. That's why Breaking Defense called it a bloody mess with a terrible loss of life. Losses like this haven't happened to us since World War II, and they could happen in just a matter of weeks. And that's not the worst part. Losing that many aircraft and carriers could harm our ability to even defend our homeland. On May 12, 2022, NBC's Meet the Press staged a full-day war game between the US and China. Titled War Games: The Battle for Taiwan, what made this game unique was that it was televised. What was so disturbing about this war game was that it showed the war reaching our shores. It shows China first attacking Hawaii, then Alaska, and then even our naval base in San Diego. Then the attack spread across all the critical military bases right here in America. So we would have no choice but to fight to stop that from happening. Also, if Taiwan becomes independent, the USA will have a base next to China. Remember the Cuban crisis in 1962 when the USSR installed missiles in Cuba? This is something that China can't have or want. That's why the CCP is ready to attack America with a surprise blow and ignite World War III. Now, if this war ever happens, it won't be a conventional war. They are expensive and they take a long time. China wants a quick and swift victory. So for years, they've been developing a super bomb that's 1,000 times more devastating than nuclear devices. Scientists call it an entirely new type of weapon that's virtually impossible to defend against. It's a weapon that can instantly end modern life in America by knocking out our power grid. Nothing that has electronic components will ever work again. Cars won't start, TVs, phones, the internet will all be dead. They're going to send us back to the Middle Ages. You'll have to make a fire to cook and use candles for light. This weapon was developed by a group of Chinese rocket scientists. They called it the hypersonic EMP missile, and it's right out of a sci-fi movie. Let me explain. You see, right now it's easy to predict where a missile will land once it's fired. We know it's going from point A to point B. We can predict its trajectory. And because of that, our missile defense systems can intercept them once they're fired. It can change direction in mid-flight. But what makes EMP hypersonic missiles impossible to defend against is that it can change direction in mid-flight. That means it can keep its target a secret up until the last few seconds of its flight. In other words, missile defenses won't work against it. You can't shoot down a missile that can zig left or right whenever it wants to. The current technology doesn't exist. If that doesn't make it difficult enough, it's also the fastest weapon on Earth. The fastest weapon on Earth. It can move as fast as 25 times the speed of sound. That's roughly 19,810 miles per hour. That means it can fly from China to San Diego in minutes. So it's the fastest weapon on Earth, and it can move from left to right in the air, making it impossible to shoot down. The national security implications are clear. As the Vice Chair of the Joint Chief of Staff said, we don't have any defense against such a weapon. This is why Dr. Peter Vincent Pry, Executive Director of Task Force on National and Homeland Security, issued this somber warning and stated that this bomb will not only destroy our unprotected systems, but our military systems as well, because they're not hardened to face such a super weapon. This angel of death could serve as a red carpet for a potential nuclear attack. Because without electricity, we can't mobilize our forces and defend ourselves. Friend, this new superweapon will cripple our grid in less than 5 minutes and spark a coast-to-coast blackout that lasts months, if not years. Imagine not having any electricity for days, weeks, months, or even years. No lights, no communication channels, no water, no refrigeration, no navigation systems, no gas pumping, no food transportation, no waste pumping or garbage collecting. It's no secret that the power grid is the workhorse of our country. If it collapses, America's entire energy system will collapse. Fuel won't get delivered. Rolling blackouts will sweep the land. Pipes will freeze. Food in the freezer will go bad. You may shiver in the dark, praying for a little heat, for weeks. You'll be one of the lucky ones. Others, with less margin of error, may fare worse. Experts tell us if diesel fuel is cut off, it would take only 3 days before supermarket shelves are bare. In the 72 hours following an energy cutoff, almost all supermarkets would run out of supplies and shut down. And if this continued, in a matter of weeks, civilization as we know it would come to an end. The consequences are beyond imagination. The Congressional Electromagnetic Pulse (EMP) Commission warned that an EMP could black out the U.S. for a year or more, killing up to 9 out of 10 Americans by starvation and societal collapse. Please don't think this can't happen. Control security expert Joseph M. Weiss noted that China has already created a backdoor into our electric grid, and that they have their finger on that trigger, with total control over our power supply. This isn't a hypothetical warning, Weiss said. In fact, this is one of China's modern warfare methods. Last year, after a conflict with India, China crippled Mumbai's electric grid and caused a massive blackout, leaving more than 30 million people without electricity. Supermarkets, hospitals, and the water supply were completely crippled. Yet despite the fact that an EMP is probably the mother of all disasters, it's just not scary enough for governments to take the necessary action. And let's be honest, our government is terrible at listening to warnings about disasters, simply because disaster preparedness doesn't win elections. Friend, all of this is underway right now. We've never been so close to world war as these days. The Chinese are aware that the power grid is America's soft underbelly. They know that it's held together with duct tape and chicken wire. Can you imagine that the greatest nation in the world has a power grid so defenseless that if China knocks down 9 out of 55,000 electrical substations, the whole grid will be down for months? If this isn't scary, then take a look at this petrifying statement from Ted Koppel, the author of Lights Out. It's not a matter of if, rather it's a matter of when China attacks our power grid. Ted spent 30 years studying America's power grid and spent a good portion of his life urging and warning the government that we have a backdoor our enemies are going to use against us. So when this man speaks, you should listen, and you have to really prepare your defenses, because all it takes is not 100 hypersonic missiles, not even 50 missiles, but just one warhead, and it's lights out America. In addition, Ted said that the real danger of an EMP is it could happen without any signs or warnings. Unlike an economic collapse that's more like boiling a frog, when we would finally figure out that an EMP is struck, it would be too late. Just imagine, you're heading to the kitchen to have breakfast. Usually you hear noise in the background, TV, radio, or anything, but today there's a deadly silence, and you felt something's a bit off. You go to the kitchen and your wife tells you she can't cook breakfast because there's no power. You then notice there are no lights. Probably just a normal blackout. You pour a bowl of cereal and start eating it. You're halfway through your breakfast, but then you notice your neighbors gathered outside in one big disoriented crowd. Probably the blackout affected most of the neighborhood. That's when one of your kids comes over to complain that the cell phone doesn't work. You explain that it can't be charged because of the blackout, but you check your phone and it doesn't work either. Maybe this isn't just a plain blackout. So you go outside to talk to your neighbors. All of them experience the same crazy stuff as you did. One of them has a radio. You can hear something. There's been an EMP attack. No invasion, but the power grid is down indefinitely. This will be the last time you'll see your neighbors like this. You know you're prepared for anything, but the possibility of an EMP attack never occurred to you. This is not a drill, it's the real thing. A week later, you're knee-deep in hell. You now realize that you're underprepared at best. Your food and water supply are almost gone, and you're freezing. Most of the food is rotten, and the kids are scared and cold. You managed to protect your home so far, but in the last couple of days, riots have started. People are starting to turn on each other. They went from civil to psychotic in just a few moments. They're desperate. They need food, and you still have some. Across the street, you see fire spreading on your next-door neighbor's lawn. Looters are running the streets of your once peaceful neighborhood. You haven't seen any of your neighbors in weeks. You might have to leave your home if you want to survive. You heard rumors about people being shipped off to FEMA camps. But that's not the place for you. Soup lines for your entire family? Is that what it comes down to? One of your kids has a fever. The antibiotics don't seem to work that much. What should you do? And this is just the first few weeks. It'll take years to restore the grid. For almost all Americans, this will be the end. Forever. Almost all Americans. Not you. You won't be a victim. You can still protect yourself, your family, and your home. That will show exactly how you can do that. But there's one thing. You must act now. There's almost no time left. No one was expecting Putin to invade Ukraine, and no one can expect when China is going to draw first blood against us. Look, my eyes are wide open about the problems in America, but I love our country. I refuse to stand back and let China destroy it, not without a fight. I couldn't imagine seeing my family suffering the onslaught of cold or starving and thirst. And the way I see it, the only person who will always be there for me is me. And if I don't have the right knowledge to keep myself and my loved ones safe when the calamity hits, then my family and I are as good as dead. That's why ever since I learned about this brewing disaster, I devoted my life to finding a solution to prepare myself and protect my family. EMPs are one of the deadliest threats known to man. Our entire power grid could be melted down in a matter of minutes. Yet when I went looking for a solution to protect my family, most of what I found on EMP preparedness were just educational pieces with no real survival knowledge or practical advice. They do well explaining what an EMP is and how it works, but they have little survival advice on how to defend yourself against it. On the other hand, there's a bunch of armchair survivalist courses with stupid ideas like put all your appliances inside a big Faraday cage. But how's that going to help? Things like your iPhone, for instance, will be completely worthless when all the communication networks are down. I knew that I needed aid from someone that actually lived through an apocalyptic environment like the one an EMP would cause, someone who does what he preaches. When I asked my contacts and friends in the survival community, most of them pointed me to this ex-veteran in the Operational Forces unit named Tyler White. Tyler is a true American hero. He did multiple tours overseas, doing missions all over the world, including 2 tours in Afghanistan at the peak of the Afghan War. He's also been a survival instructor for more than 2 decades. His background in the military and the tours he did in war-torn countries made him the perfect person to answer all my questions about what to do when an EMP strikes America. Tyler was very patient with the fact that I was a total newbie when it came to EMP preparedness, and he was unfailingly generous in sharing what he knew. The most important thing Tyler taught me is that you can survive anything, even something as disastrous and chaotic like an EMP. And as I promised you earlier, I'm going to share with you the simple SOS preparedness steps that Tyler showed me. Step number 1, beware the smoke. An EMP can generate electrical fires, so the first thing you should do is check around your house and smell for smoke. It's important to note that the smoke detector system will not be operational. If there's a fire, putting it out or getting out of the house will be your first and most immediate step. Install 1 or 2 battery-powered smoke detectors at each end of your house or apartment and purchase fire extinguishers. Keep one in the kitchen and one in the master bedroom. It's a good idea to also keep an extinguisher in the garage and one in the upstairs hallway, convenient to all the upstairs rooms. Buy an extra extinguisher for practice outside, especially if you've never used one before. In the heat of the moment, it's highly unlikely that you'll be able to focus on reading the instructions while faced with a rapidly growing fire. Step number 2, gather an ocean. Immediately begin gathering the most important resource for your survival, water. Unless you have your own water well and a manual pump, water becomes the second most immediate need after shelter. The EMP has very likely disabled your city's water system, including its ability to filter and purify water. The clean water in the system may be all you get for months, or much longer. In most cities, there is at least 24 to 36 hours worth of clean water in the system at any given time. There's a lot to be done, and your window of opportunity has already started to close. Quickly fill with water each bathtub, sink, water barrel, trash can, and all other large containers, even if they aren't squeaky clean. From this point forward, any water gathered from rainfall, a well, a swimming pool, or any other source will need to be purified before drinking. And that includes water stored in less than clean sinks and bathtubs. Keep in mind too that the water coming into your home arrives there thanks to a pumping system that keeps the water flowing. If the pumps aren't operating, there's no way of knowing exactly how that will affect your home's water supply. There may be water in the pipes, but without a force behind it, it will be difficult to access. In that case, find the faucet that is the lowest to the ground, possibly an outdoor faucet, hose bib used for the garden hose, and drain water from that point. Step number 3, start eating like a king or queen. All that food you have in your refrigerator and freezer, it's a matter of hours before it spoils and becomes a health hazard. With that in mind, along with the fact that you are going to be working harder, physically and under more mental stress than you have ever been, start eating. If you have more food than you can eat before it reaches unsafe temperatures, 40 degrees Fahrenheit, give it away to neighbors. If it's produce, slice it up and put it in a food dehydrator. These can run on a small solar-powered generator. It's possible to use a water bath canner or pressure canner over something like a rocket stove if you want to can food, including meat in a pressure canner. But it's difficult to maintain a steady temperature and pressure. If you plan on doing this in a shit-hits-the-fan scenario, practice beforehand. Remove all uneaten food from both your refrigerator and freezer and wipe the interiors clean. You will soon have enough issues to deal with, and the smell of putrefied food is one thing you don't need. A clean, closed fridge will be very effective at keeping critters out of your food and anything else you want to keep pest-free. And that's not all. Tyler taught me so many things, but there's something he mentioned that is very important. He said, if close friends or family members live within a walking distance, or you have a vehicle that can make the trip quickly, send someone to check up on them. And it would be better if you can bring them back to your house. Don't underestimate the value of an extra pair of hands and an extra pair of eyes and ears. Additional group members can help with security, household chores, hauling and purifying water, childcare, and numerous other tasks. Also, if you know that someone else is stationed at the front of the house keeping an eye on the neighborhood, for example, it will free up your time to take care of something else or get a much-needed rest. He also told me about the exact equipment you must have to survive an EMP attack. And too many things to mention here, but I'll show you how you can get all of the exact same information. And as I was talking to Tyler, I realized I had stumbled on a treasure trove. I felt like a kid in a candy store, or better, like a starving survivor in a zombie apocalypse who just discovered a hidden stockpile. I realized that everyone should have the information and the knowledge Tyler was showering me with. And so I asked him if he wanted to collaborate with me in getting this gold mine of vital EMP preparedness info out into the world. But the good man wasn't interested. He liked his privacy. He didn't like the fame of any kind. And for sure, he didn't want any of the negative attention that tends to come with being any kind of survival expert. But I was determined to win this one because I knew this wasn't about our egos. There was much more at stake. The lives of thousands of Americans who would be left helpless in case of an EMP. After a lot of cajoling and maybe a little bit of emotional blackmail, I succeeded. And boy, oh boy, did we deliver. We spent more than 6 months putting together every possible practical information, instruction, and packaged that material into the first ever program that shows you how to prepare and survive an EMP attack. We called it BlastProof, the ultimate guide to preparing your home for a sudden EMP attack on the grid. And it's the only practical program you'll find that will help you prepare and survive the destructive hypersonic EMP that's going to fry our power grid. This program will also show you how to safely pull through the chaos and carnage that follows the disaster. In fact, if you want your family to be safe when an EMP strikes, this is it. No stone is left unturned in this program. Everything you need to learn to face the inexplicable world, where danger lurks around every bend, is inside this life-saving program. It will help you plan for an EMP attack ahead of time. But most of all, they will give you the peace of mind that comes from knowing that you have control over your family's safety, no matter how things get. Now, of course, you don't have to do this. And you can sit back and trust our government to protect you if you like. But by watching this full presentation, I know you're a lot smarter than the average Joe. You see that America could soon be transformed into a total chaotic state, and that you could be forced to live on candles and watch your kids freezing and starving. That's why it's your responsibility to make sure that your family won't be at the mercy of others when that happens. And BlastProof was designed to help you prepare and protect your loved ones. So here's a glimpse of what you'll get inside BlastProof. First, you'll have a step-by-step blueprint on how to make a special Faraday cage that will protect your devices against the strongest EMP that was ever made. You see, EMPs are not all equal in power and impact. An EMP made by a group of fanatics is not as devastating to our grid and electronic devices as an EMP made by an enemy state that invested billions of dollars into developing the most powerful EMP in the world. Which is why it's extremely crucial for you to have this blueprint at your disposal, because it will protect your devices no matter how destructive the blast of the hypersonic EMP is. You'll also learn the 5 vital electronics you need after an EMP strike. You won't find any other program mentioning these electronics because they're secretly used only by the US military. And since Tyler is a former veteran in the operational forces, he insisted that we reveal them to you. Missing out on any of these electronics could mean that your family will struggle with the essential things like communication, light, and heat. The good news is that these electronics are available at your local Walmart or any other online store. Now, when an EMP fries our power grid, it won't be long before people start to panic and all hell breaks loose, which is why you need to have a strategy that will guide you to safety. And that's exactly what page 36 inside BlastProof will show you. You'll learn special bugout techniques that allow you to quickly and swiftly get away from the chaos and the mayhem on the streets. You will know what you should and shouldn't do during the first few hours of a grid-down disaster. And that's still not all that you'll get inside BlastProof. Tyler and I did our very best to cover every possible aspect and scenario when an EMP fries every single piece of electronics, including your car. That's why on page 180, you'll learn how to prepare your car and protect its circuits from the blast of EMP. I can't stress how important it is for you to shield your car. A vehicle in times of crisis could save your family's life and help you get to your home quickly and move around faster in case you need to escape dangerous situations. And that's not all. We also made a special list for you. In this list, you'll find the car models that will certainly survive the shockwave of an EMP. And now that you've guaranteed that you'll have an EMP-proof vehicle, it's time to make sure you keep the lights on when an EMP completely shuts down our power supply. Most Americans will have no clue how to generate electricity and keep their families warm in the cold of winter. Imagine how catastrophic that would be, how millions of families will suffer without power. But you won't be one of them, because on page 90, you'll be able to quickly and easily put together an off-grid home solar system that will give your home instant electrical power, enough to run small window air conditioners, big refrigerators, water heaters, and keep other critical appliances alive when the power is out. This is completely off-the-grid system, which means that it will not be affected by an EMP. Because the solar panels, the battery bank, and all the other components are not connected to the power grid and don't include the circuits that an EMP fries. That's still not all I have for you. In BlastProof, you'll learn the easiest way to grow your year-round vegetables. You see, no matter how much food you stockpile, in a major disaster like an EMP attack, eventually you'll run out. By then, the grocery stores will be swept clean. But don't worry, page 72 will show you how to assemble a simple high-output food generator that allows you to grow healthy, calorie-rich food and provide fresh and tasty meals for your family, even if you don't have a large plot of land. You can grow your veggies in your garage, roof, or your backyard. Plus, unlike any other EMP preparedness program out there, this program will feed you more than 50 pages full of little-known home defense strategies and techniques that will turn your home into literally an impenetrable castle and safeguard you from looters and masked gangs in the event of an EMP. You'll discover proven home protection strategies and traps that are guaranteed to keep looters away from your home. And on page 120 inside BlastProof, you'll also be able to put together a biosand water filter that purifies large quantities of water, including wastewater, in less than 30 minutes. This innovative filter can provide clean water for a family of 5 or more when the water supply is contaminated. That way you and your children will stay hydrated and enjoy fresh, clean water. And much, much more. This truly is a groundbreaking program for anyone who wants to prepare and protect his family from an EMP attack. It wasn't easy getting the information that's inside this program. EMP preparedness covers a lot of survival aspects, whether it's protecting your electronic devices, generating electricity, having a source of food, and of course protecting your home from any potential threat. But Tyler and I succeeded and created a program that you won't find anywhere else on Earth. It's a true game plan for sidestepping the imminent threat of an EMP, for protecting your family and loved ones, and emerging stronger, safer, and more equipped to handle the crisis than almost every American alive today who doesn't know what to do when disaster strikes. But wait, there's more. It's essential that you get access to BlastProof right away. We don't know what the future may hold for us, but you need to prepare and you need to do it now. This is why, when you're getting BlastProof today, I want to send you 3 special reports to help you through these hard times. Your first special will show you how to protect your home and property from the masked gangs that wander the streets stealing and looting. If you rely on mainstream home defense strategies, you're making a huge mistake, since they are not designed to defend your household against multiple intruders, and the police are going to be hard to come by. That's why I took home invasion protection as a priority in my preparedness strategy, and you must take it into consideration for the sake of your family's safety. Because once someone has entered your home, they've abandoned any expectation of mercy. And with the life-saving techniques, this report shows you they'll regret ever crossing your property line immediately. This special report is called Off-Grid Home Protection Systems, and it will show you how to defend your home against violent criminals or looters. It shows you how to keep your home safe without any home protection systems and without any use of electric power. You will find out what are the best dog breeds in case of a disaster, and even though it may sound surprising, this guide explains how you can actually protect your home by planting defensive bushes. And that's just the start of what you'll get. The bottom line is this. I believe having some of your family and home secured and off the grid now will mean you're able to prevent your loved ones from seeing the horrors that come with an EMP attack. If that's what you want to do, BlastProof and Off-Grid Home Protection System special reports were designed for you. They're so simple and easy to follow. I'm sure you'll be pleasantly surprised by how straightforward and practical the information and the insights in them are. Feel free to share them with your most trusted friends and loved ones. They'll be so grateful, and you can relish saving them from the coming disaster. Second, you'll get Unscathed Survival, and it will show you how to survive 10 different disaster scenarios like hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, terrorist attacks, and even an economic collapse. You'll learn the absolutely crucial steps you must do to survive the aftermath of these disasters. With these steps, you'll know exactly what to do and what to check for. You'll learn how to react to stressful situations more calmly, both mentally and physically. And in your third report, you'll get a comprehensive collection of time-tested and proven strategies, tips, and tricks that will help you create your own home pharmacy. It's called How to Make Your Pharmacy. It's the ultimate guide to survival medicine. A special report that will show you the natural treatment alternatives for a time when no doctors will be around. You'll know what natural remedies you can use, and you'll be able to find them with ease. You'll also find out how to prepare them quickly and the best ways to store them. Friend, with these 3 reports, you could be one of the few who thrive during this coming storm. When it hits your inbox, make sure you open your reports right away to be sure you don't miss out. When you get all 3 free reports, number 1, Off-Grid Home Protection Systems, number 2, Unscathed Survival, number 3, How to Make Your Own Pharmacy, you'll be prepared to safeguard your family and give instant electrical power with 3 different EMP-proof sources of energy. Enjoy food security. You'll have enough food to feed your family no matter how long the disaster takes. Shield your household from looters and gangs and sleep in peace with zero worries about some street thugs coming to take what's yours. Guide and help your closed circuit or small community. Potentially save their lives from the coming disaster. Protect your family's safety. And be in a position of power compared to others who don't have your knowledge. Fact is, after going through the program and your 3 free reports, you'll stay calm, collected, and protected when the rest of the world panics. You'll feel confident, knowing what to do when the lights are turned off and when chaos unravels. And of course, your family is going to have all the drinkable water you want when others will die of dehydration or drinking dirty water. You'll have enough water to cook, drink, and shower. By now, you're probably wondering, how much is this incredible package going to cost? Look, having BlastProof at your disposal not only means a full off-the-grid EMP-proof life for you and your family. Having this program in essence means safety, confidence, and peace of mind knowing that your loved ones are going to be protected, no matter how bad things get. Every day you live providing fresh food, clean water, and endless electricity for your family while seeing them healthy and happy. It's another day of living life without regret. because you've taken a huge important step to make sure you have the right tools needed to get out there and be confident about facing any disaster life throws at us. And when you consider that BlastProof really can do all of this for you, you can probably understand why my team was adamant that we set the price of this life-saving program at $297, which I think is extremely fair. Just think about how much the average stockpile for a family of 4 for only 3 months costs about $1,900. That's just 3 months. If you truly want to be secure, you probably need a 5-year supply at least. And it can all go to waste if you don't know the right thing to do. And it's not only about the money. Think of all the time and effort you're putting into it. And yet, while I know that we could charge $297 for BlastProof and I'd still sleep soundly at night, this isn't about making a profit for me or Tyler. Instead, it's about fulfilling a promise I made to myself to help as many hardworking folks as I can survive this coming disaster. Which is why, if you decide to take action right now and say yes to this life-saving program, you won't need to spend $297 or even $197. And why, instead, by taking action today, you can order BlastProof Plus, all the special reports, off-grid home protection systems, unscathed, how to make your own pharmacy, for just a one-time special offer of $39. The only way to get it is to click the Add to Cart button now. For $39, you'll get immediate digital access to BlastProof, and you'll know not only how to survive an EMP, but also a food shortage, a mass pandemic, an economic meltdown, and violent riots all at the same time. You'll even know what to do in case the government goes AWOL, or in case they declare martial law. You can only get BlastProof here if you click the Add to Cart button now. But really, the price doesn't even matter, because it comes with a no questions asked 60 days money-back guarantee. This is really important, and here's why. We are absolutely certain that you and your family will enjoy what it's like to take control of your safety, protection, and independence. We also know that in today's society of big promises and over-the-top hype, talk is cheap. That's why we want to offer you the opportunity to try BlastProof for yourself for the next 60 days, with absolutely no financial risk whatsoever. It works like this. Simply click on the big golden button that says Add to Cart and order your own digital copy of BlastProof right now. Then you'll have immediate access to the life-saving information in BlastProof. I want you to check the valuable information inside BlastProof and put it into action. We are confident that once you do this, you'll have what you need to know to safeguard and prepare your family for an EMP attack. We've made this as newbie-friendly as we could, but if you're not blown away by the knowledge revealed in it, and if you're not absolutely thrilled with the simple, easy defense steps that virtually no other program covers, then simply send us an email within 60 days and I'll send you your money back, no questions asked. The reason Tyler and I decided to offer this guarantee is because we're sure you will be blown away by what life feels like with BlastProof. And because we like to do business the right way, if we're not providing you with tremendous value, then we don't deserve your money. This way, you can see for yourself how great this program is without risking a thing. So go ahead and click the big button below, and you'll enter directly into a secure order form. You've reached a fork in the road, and which path you take is up to you. This presentation is now ending, and ultimately the choice is yours. You can hope an EMP attack never happens and do nothing. Listen, I'm also hoping an EMP will never happen, but I'm sure you're watching how the global situation is unfolding right now. Putin has fundamentally altered the world as we have known it since the end of the Cold War with this invasion. China is launching missiles over the Straits of Taiwan on a daily basis. War is almost a certainty, and it would bring devastating consequences across the world, including here in America. The situation is urgent. The Communist Party will destroy our grid without a drop of sweat to stay in power, and your life could be in danger. Remember, when you order your copy of BlastProof, I'll immediately send your 3 free bonus gifts. Please keep in mind that this special half-price offer can't last. So I strongly urge you to say yes to BlastProof right now. Are you ready? Ready to protect your family against the greatest disaster in the history of our nation? Ready to shrug off all the struggles of going off-grid, because this program will guide you from start to finish to achieve an independent, disaster-proof, self-sufficient life. Ready to not just survive the coming storm, but potentially save lives and become the hero of your community. Ready to know everything there is to know about surviving an EMP bomb and hold life-saving knowledge others don't have. ready to protect your home and family no matter what events unfold in America. That's what you'll get today in BlastProof and your 3 free reports. Okay, it's time. Time for you to decide how the coming crisis will play out for you. Will you become a victim of total chaos and social unrest? Or are you a person of action? Will you choose to win while others lose by protecting your household, family, and loved ones? If you choose to win, go ahead and press the button below now. When you do, you'll be taken to a secure, encrypted page. There you can tell me exactly where to send your copy of BlastProof and your 3 free reports. Remember, you take no risk at all. You can cancel for a full refund anytime in the first 60 days and keep all 3 reports no matter what. Press the button below now, and I'll meet you on the other side. Thank you for spending this time with me today.